Nestled deep within a secluded valley, far from the clamor of civilization, lay the quaint village of Whispering Pines. Its inhabitants, a cheerful and hard-working folk, lived in harmony with nature. They toiled the land and raised their families, their laughter echoing through the pines. The village was a sanctuary, a place untouched by the wickedness that plagued the outside world. Life in Whispering Pines was simple, peaceful, predictable, until one day, it wasn't. The sun rose on Whispering Pines as it always had, casting long shadows over the dew-kissed fields. The air was crisp, filled with the promise of a new day, but as the sun climbed higher in the sky, a sense of unease settled over the valley. The usual morning bustle was absent, replaced by an eerie silence. The villagers, who usually greeted the dawn with open arms, were nowhere to be seen. Their homes stood empty, doors ajar, meals left half-eaten on tables. It was as if the village had simply ceased to exist, swallowed whole by the shadows that lurked at the edges of the woods. Whispering Pines, once a haven of peace and prosperity, had become a ghost town. The mystery of the vanished village would become a haunting tale whispered from generation to generation, a chilling reminder of the capricious nature of fate. The village sign, once a symbol of welcome, now stood as a silent sentinel, weathered by time and neglect. Nature had begun to reclaim the village, with overgrown paths and creeping vines enveloping the once tidy homes. Birds and small animals, once wary of human presence, now roamed freely, exploring the empty streets and abandoned homes. A child's toy left behind in the haste of departure lay forgotten in the dirt, a poignant reminder of the lives once lived there. In neighboring villages, the story of Whispering Pines became a legend, told and retold by storytellers around flickering campfires. Elders spoke of the village with a mix of sorrow and mystery, their eyes reflecting the weight of the tale. Maps marked the location of Whispering Pines with a question mark, a place shrouded in enigma and speculation. Researchers and historians, intrigued by the mystery, pored over old documents and artifacts seeking clues to the village's fate. A faded photograph showing the village in its prime, vibrant and full of life, contrasted starkly with its current desolation. Some say that on quiet nights a lone figure can be seen standing at the edge of the forest, gazing towards the village as if waiting for something or someone. Under the light of the moon, the village takes on an otherworldly glow, its empty streets bathed in an eerie luminescence. A journal entry, discovered years later, detailed the last days of Whispering Pines, hinting at a creeping dread that had taken hold of the villagers. Shadows moving in the forest, an unsettling presence lurking just beyond the tree line, added to the growing sense of unease. Yet, amidst the darkness, a single candle flickered in an abandoned house, a symbol of hope and resilience. The villagers' faces, once filled with joy, were now remembered with eyes wide with fear, as if they had seen something unimaginable. Whispering Pines, now overgrown and silent, stood as a testament to the fragility of peace and the ever-present shadow of the unknown. And so, the village of Whispering Pines faded into legend, a place where the whispers of the past still linger, carried by the wind through the pines. Rumors spread like wildfire, carried on the wind that whistled through the empty village. Some whispered of a band of marauders, ruthless and efficient, who descended upon the village under the cover of darkness. Others spoke of a contagious illness, swift and merciless, that swept through the village, leaving only silence in its wake. Still others claimed that the earth itself had opened up and swallowed the village whole, a testament to the raw power that lay dormant beneath the surface. Each tale, more outlandish than the last, was met with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Could a band of marauders really make an entire village disappear without a trace? Was there a disease so virulent that it could decimate a population overnight? And how could the earth simply swallow a village whole without leaving so much as a crack in the ground? As the days turned into weeks, the whispers grew more insistent, taking on a life of their own. The lack of answers only fueled the flames of speculation, turning whispers into shouts and fear into paranoia. The mystery of Whispering Pines had seeped into the collective consciousness, a chilling reminder that even in the most idyllic of settings, darkness could lurk just beneath the surface. Deep within the forest that bordered Whispering Pines, a chilling discovery was made. A circular clearing devoid of any vegetation, marked with strange symbols etched into the bare earth. This clearing, hidden from the world for who knows how long, seemed to hold secrets that were never meant to be uncovered. The very sight of it was enough to send a wave of unease through even the most seasoned explorers. The symbols, ancient and indecipherable, seemed to pulsate with an unseen energy, sending shivers down the spines of those who dared to venture near. These symbols, unlike anything seen before, appeared to be part of a language long forgotten, a language that perhaps held the key to understanding the dark history of this place. The pulsating light that emanated from them was both mesmerizing and terrifying, drawing people in while simultaneously warning them to stay away. Could this be the key to unraveling the mystery of the vanished village? The village, once a thriving community, had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only whispers and legends. The discovery of the ritualistic circle brought new questions to light. What had happened to the villagers? Had they been part of some dark ritual that had gone horribly wrong? Whispers of dark rituals and ancient pacts began to circulate, painting a sinister picture of the village's final days. Stories of villagers making deals with otherworldly beings, of sacrifices and forbidden ceremonies, began to emerge. These tales, once dismissed as mere folklore, now seemed to hold a grain of truth. The more people learned about the circle, the more they began to fear what it represented. Had the villagers, knowingly or unknowingly, invoked a power beyond their control? The thought that they might have dabbled in forces they did not understand was a chilling one. Perhaps they had been desperate, seeking help from entities that demanded a steep price, or maybe they had been curious, drawn to the unknown like moths to a flame, unaware of the consequences of their actions. Was their disappearance the price they paid for dabbling in forces beyond human comprehension? The empty village, with its eerie atmosphere, stood as a silent witness to whatever had transpired. The homes, once filled with laughter and life, were now empty shells, haunted by the memories of those who had lived there. The air was thick with a sense of loss and foreboding, as if the village itself mourned the fate of its inhabitants. The discovery of the ritualistic circle sent a collective shudder through the surrounding communities, adding a terrifying new layer to the mystery of Whispering Pines. People began to wonder if they too were at risk, if the darkness that had claimed the village might spread. The fear was palpable, a shadow that loomed over the region, making people wary of the forest and its secrets. The air within the circle felt heavy, charged with an unseen energy that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to enter. It was as if the very ground was alive, humming with a power that was both ancient and malevolent. Those who stepped into the circle reported feeling a sense of dread, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. The atmosphere was oppressive, making it difficult to breathe, as if the air itself was trying to push them away. Birds avoided the area, their cheerful songs replaced by an unsettling silence. The usual sounds of the forest, the rustling of the leaves, the chirping of insects, were conspicuously absent. It was as if the circle had created a bubble of silence, a void where no living creature dared to venture. The absence of birds in particular was striking, as if they sensed the danger and chose to stay away. Even the sunlight seemed hesitant to penetrate the dense canopy of leaves overhead, as if the forest itself was trying to conceal this unholy sight from prying eyes. The shadows cast by the trees seemed to stretch and twist, creating an ever-present gloom that added to the sense of unease. It was as if the forest was alive, conspiring to keep the circle hidden from the world, protecting its dark secrets. The ritualistic circle stood as a silent testament to the unknown, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lurk in the shadows. It was a place that defied explanation, a mystery that begged to be solved but warned against delving too deep. The circle was a stark reminder that some secrets are best left buried, that the pursuit of knowledge can sometimes lead to terrifying discoveries. As the sun set and the shadows grew longer, the circle seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a beacon of darkness in the heart of the forest. As whispers of dark rituals and ancient symbols spread, the air grew thick with unease. The villagers of Whispering Pines, a small secluded community, began to feel the weight of an unseen presence. The ancient symbols etched into the stone seemed to pulse with a life of their own, as if they were trying to communicate a dire warning. So too did the stories of strange occurrences in the days leading up to the disappearance. The once peaceful village was now shrouded in an eerie mist, casting long shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. The villagers whispered among themselves, their voices tinged with fear and uncertainty. Some villagers reported seeing strange lights in the sky, lights that defied explanation. They appeared suddenly, flickering and dancing like fireflies on a summer night, but with a malevolent twist. These lights were not the gentle glow of nature, but something far more sinister. Flickering and dancing like fireflies on a summer night, these lights seemed to be a harbinger of something dreadful. They moved with an unnatural grace, weaving patterns in the sky that left the villagers in a state of awe and terror. Others spoke of unusual animal behavior, with creatures acting in ways that defied their natural instincts. Birds that should have been migrating were seen circling the village, their cries echoing through the night. The animals seemed to sense the impending doom, their behavior growing more erratic with each passing day. With nocturnal creatures appearing during the day, the natural order of things was upended. Owls hooted in broad daylight and bats flitted about under the midday sun. Their eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity, these creatures added to the growing sense of dread that permeated the village. Their eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity, the animals seemed to be under some dark influence. The villagers could not shake the feeling that they were being watched, that these creatures were messengers of a greater unseen force. A few even claimed to have heard whispers in the dead of night, voices calling their names from the darkness. These whispers were not the product of imagination, but something far more real and terrifying. They seemed to come from the very heart of the forest, urging them to join the shadows, voices calling their names from the darkness, urging them to join the shadows. The forest, once a place of refuge and tranquility, had become a realm of fear and uncertainty. The villagers dared not venture into the woods after dark for fear of what might be lurking within. Urging them to join the shadows, the voices grew more insistent with each passing night. The villagers could feel the pull of the darkness, a seductive force that promised answers, but at a terrible cost. These stories, dismissed as mere fancies of overactive imaginations at the time, took on a new significance in the wake of the villagers' disappearance. The villagers had tried to rationalize the strange occurrences, attributing them to natural phenomena or the tricks of a tired mind. Took on a new significance in the wake of the village's disappearance. The once bustling streets were now eerily silent, the homes abandoned in haste. It was as if the village had been swallowed by the very shadows that had haunted it. Had the villagers been privy to signs, warnings of the impending doom that awaited them? The symbols, the lights, the whispers, were they all part of a greater puzzle that the villagers had failed to piece together in time? Warnings of the impending doom that awaited them. The sense of foreboding had been palpable, yet the villagers had clung to the hope that it was all just a series of coincidences. They had sensed the danger but had been powerless to stop it. Or were these simply the ramblings of a community on the brink of an unexplainable tragedy, their minds playing tricks on them in the face of the unknown? The fear had been real, but so too had the confusion. The villagers had been caught in a web of uncertainty, unable to discern reality from illusion. Their minds playing tricks on them in the face of the unknown. The line between reality and nightmare had blurred, leaving the villagers in a state of perpetual fear. They had looked to one another for reassurance, but found only mirrored expressions of dread. Whatever the truth may be, the stories of the strange occurrences served as a chilling reminder that something was amiss in the days leading up to the village's disappearance. The truth remained elusive, hidden in the shadows that had claimed Whispering Pines. The stories of the strange occurrences served as a chilling reminder that something was amiss in the days leading up to the village's disappearance. The villagers had been living on the edge of a precipice, unaware of the abyss that awaited them. That something was amiss in the days leading up to the village's disappearance. The atmosphere had been thick with tension, the air heavy with the promise of something terrible. The village had been a powder keg, ready to explode. Something dark and sinister had cast a long shadow over Whispering Pines, a shadow that seemed to grow with each passing day. The villagers had felt its presence, an unseen force that watched and waited, a shadow that would soon consume the village whole, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and a bone-chilling silence. The darkness had been patient, biding its time until it could claim the village in its entirety, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions and a bone-chilling silence. The village of Whispering Pines had vanished, swallowed by the shadows, leaving only the echoes of its past and the haunting memories of those who had once called it home.